Welcome to the Money Over 50 podcast, brought to you by Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue from Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. This information is general in nature and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Therefore, you should consider whether the information is appropriate for you and your personal circumstances. If you require personal advice, please contact Money Over 50 Financial Advisors. Here are your hosts, Dallas Davison and Michael Hogue.
Welcome to Money Over 50 with Dallas and Michael. Beware of the Chameleon Advisor. Dallas.
Thanks, Michael. Nice little cryptic topic for us today. For people who may not be aware, so Michael and I record the majority of these episodes, but we discuss them all with Ali, who works with us as well. And he's always giving us a hard time because we come up with these titles that we think are really clever and he goes, no one knows what you're talking about, mate. Don't call it that. So
that's the point.
That's the point.
As long as it looks good.
Tune in to find out more.
That looks interesting.
Yeah. So he may well just commandeer this and call it something else completely. But the topic here, beware the Chameleon Advisor. What I'm talking about here is something that I think you know exactly what I mean just from the title, Michael, which is that there are a whole world of advisors, and I use that in air quotes, or consultants, and I use in air quotes, who position themselves as an expert in something. And in reality, what they're doing is they're always just spruiking the latest fad.
Yep.
And so what I'm talking about here is whatever you're doing in life, but particularly when it comes to your retirement planning, you want to see that the person that you listen to or take advice from, and whether it's a paid advisor, whether it's someone with that you know that has a good grasp of these things, you want to see some runs on the board or a track record of a long-term interest in that topic. And so what I see all the time is you'll see the latest fad that'll pop up. So crypto is probably the big thing at the moment. And so all of a sudden, out of the woodworks, there's all these advisors who specialize in cryptocurrencies. And we're a crypto trading, I don't even know what they would call themselves. But the point there is that you can't tell me, and there are some people who were interested in and learning about and focused on cryptocurrency 10 years ago. And those people, if you, for whatever reason, if you needed to be using cryptocurrency, that's the person that you should probably listen to. Yep. Not so much because, that it's not to say that you need someone who's old and got 30 years experience to actually understand something, but they've at least shown by some sort of longitudinal evidence that they have had a long and sustained interest in that thing. Now, they might have spent 10 years. They might be no better off than when they started looking at that thing. But usually if someone has stuck to something for an extended period of time, it's because they're interested enough in it to find out more and to learn and to develop in that field. Now, what we see all the time is whether it's a financial advisor or whether it's someone else who... This year they'll be a cryptocurrency expert, and then next year it'll be something different. When the property market was going mad, they were a property guru. When it's always whatever the latest and greatest hot new thing is, that's what they're an expert in. All of a sudden, and I go, you can't be an expert in 20 different things over the course of 10 years, depending on what the latest and greatest thing is in that 6-month block. So
no, and. Look, I agree with you completely, and what I see there is these people, they taking advantage of tapping into the latest thing that everyone is talking about or interested in.
Yeah,
and it's they're generally nothing more than salespeople.
That's exactly the word I was just made a note to myself.
It becomes easier to sell this. It's no different from someone jumping from car sales to home sales, like they know everything about a Ford Ranger, and then they jump into to selling houses. Now they don't know the property market, of course, as well as some other real estate agents that have been in the market for a long time. They don't know what it works. They wouldn't be able to give you advice on how to not overcapitalize. I'm thinking, so there's all these things that they wouldn't have built up over that period of time. So Yeah, look, it's a hard argument to make that you can become an expert by jumping from ship to ship.
Yeah,
and I
think there's a separate thing here, which is that you can have a breadth of knowledge, of course. You know what I mean? You can have some knowledge about all sorts of different things, but this all ties back, I would say, to the two things, which is the circle of competence idea, which is that if you are listening to someone and they can't tell you where their circle of competence lies, then they don't know, and that's a very dangerous and scary thing, and you should run away. So, yeah, we discuss this all the time, where many times we have clients or prospective clients ask us about something, and you just have to go, I don't know enough about that. I know just enough to be dangerous. You need to go and talk to a lawyer or a real estate agent or an accountant or a insolvency expert or a something. You have to know. It's great to have a little bit of knowledge, but you have to know where the edge of that knowledge is.
Look, one of the telltale signs as well in dealing with these chameleons are that it would often seem too good to be true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've met some of these people, and they're very convincing, and there's no downside to anything that they're involved with.
Yeah.
They say no. It's they don't use the word guaranteed.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about is it actually appears too good to be true.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'd like to say, just as a side note, is the chameleon gets a bad rap. The real chameleon, because
it's a survival mechanism. It's going, mate. I'm just trying to stay alive.
It's an impressive animal. I've since having young children, I've been reading animal books and things like that. And I was like, this animal's impressive.
Yeah.
It's an impressive animal, and the poor thing's been tarred now with a negative connotation.
Yeah.
So obviously tongue in cheek there, but yeah, look, it would generally, one of the symptoms or the telltale signs of talking to one of these people is it's too good to be true, and there's no downside. They wouldn't discuss the risk with you. No, it's all easy. We guarantee, even though they might not use the word guarantee, we
This ties into one of my favourite lines from all of Seinfeld, which is that it's not a lie if you believe it. So. Yeah. The issue with it a lot of the time is because it's the hot new thing, and this person has just jumped in and got into the hot new thing. It's not that they're trying to hide from you the downside or the risks or the whatever. It's that they don't know, because they don't know that there are risks and there are things to be aware of or things to watch out for, because their knowledge is so limited to, geez, this is going mad at the moment. I'll jump in there. What could go wrong? I don't know. So it's actually very easy to sell something to someone without discussing those risks or the downsides if you don't know what they are. So that's the first thing. I love that line of, it's not a lie if you believe it. And I think you see that with a lot of salesmen, is that it's actually can be dangerous to. We were discussing this the other day about having a coffee about. There's probably, if you are a salesman, if you're a pure salesman and you're just trying to sell a product, there's probably a good level of knowledge where if you actually know all of the flaws of all the risks or all of the downside stuff, you'd never go out and make a sale, because you'd be going, hey, this is probably how I'd do it, but you've really got to be aware of these 10 things, which would be the correct way to say it. But the guy next door to them that's not telling you about the 10 downsides and the 10 risks and the disadvantages, they're going to go, well, I'm going to go with him because he's better at this, because there's no risk when I invest with him. So there's a component there where it's like, that's probably the sweet spot of if you're looking at a fad and you've got an advisor who's telling you that there's no risk there. It's a sweet spot where they know just enough to appear that they're the expert, but not enough to know what can go wrong.
Look, the other thing that stands out, the most knowledgeable salespeople that I've ever spoken with, they always know what the alternatives are as well.
Yes.
So if they're talking, if it's IT, they know, okay, well, this competitor does this and they do this well and we do this.
Yeah.
We think we do this better than them.
Yeah.
If it's cars, we think we really own the market in this model of car for these reasons. So, and that when you deal with these chameleons, there is no discussion on alternatives.
No.
So there's no it's put your money into Mayfair 101 because Dunk Island's going to take off, and Mission Beach area is going to, we're buying up all this. There's no alternatives.
Yes.
There's no alternatives.
Yep.
And like someone that is a good salesperson knows that, here's the alternatives that you can actually go into, and where we think we add value is because we are able to do that. So that's another sign. That's another sign if they're not able to talk to you about alternatives and things like that.
Well, that I guess ties into like a real. It probably ties into a separate thing, which is that an awareness of, am I talking to a salesman or am I talking to an advisor? Do they have my best interests at heart, or do they? Or are they trying to make a sale? So a really good salesman will actually, and same thing. I've seen people where I've gone that are selling a product, and I've said, well, I'm looking for this product because I want it to do X, Y, and Z. And sometimes even someone who is a salesman will sort of look around and make sure no one's listening and go, listen, if that's what you want, I'd probably actually go down the street and you're better off getting this other model that we don't sell here, and that's going to do a better job for you. Now, even from a pure self-interest point of view, it's a fantastic way to be, though, because then the next time I need something like that, I'm going to go back to them and go,
to that person.
Well, this is what I need.
Absolutely.
Do you actually have something that...
Absolutely.
So there's that thing of,
So that's a good example. Those type of people have usually been in that industry for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're secure in their own knowledge, and they're secure enough to be able to push you along to something that they just can't.
And I think that's the point. Is it's not so much because it's not that they've been in the industry a long time. It's that they know they are going to be in the industry a long time.
That's right.
So they go, well, I know that I can just give you that advice and shuffle you down the road. And in 10 years' time, when you need to go and make another purchase, you're going to come back and talk to me, and I'm going to make a sale. Or you're going to tell your mate in 2 years' time about how I really helped you out, and you're going to send him my way. So that's, I think, the point there is that, because I didn't know how to, it's probably a better way to think of it, because there's also people who have been in an industry for 30 years, and it's just because they're old and stale, and they still don't know any more than they did 30 years ago. They're not necessarily a good advisor in that. They're not the person that you should be listening to about that thing. But that's probably someone who's jumped ship 5 times in the last 10 years and is now a cryptocurrency expert. Is it likely that he's going to continue to be a cryptocurrency expert in 5 years' time, or is he going to be on to the next thing? And so that's what I would say there. I guess there's 2 separate parts. There's, are you actually talking to a salesman, or are you talking to an advisor? And which is, a salesperson has their role, because you go, as long as I know that they are trying to make a sale, I can use the information they're providing to me to make my own decision. But I need to know that I'm making my own decision, and they're not acting in my best interest necessarily. And then the second part of that is, if they are holding themselves out to be an advisor and they're just acting in my best interest, are they actually going to be around in 2 years? If they give me bad advice, do they care? Like, is there any comeback to them? If I come back in 2 years' time and go, hey, you gave me this terrible cryptocurrency advice. Oh, no, I don't do that anymore. I do something completely different. So there's no reputational risk. There's no brand damage that can happen from that. So, I think that's probably the key. As soon as I hit on that, you knew what I meant with the Chameleon Advisor. And people, now that you say it, people know it. Like, everyone's got their mate who's the salesman, who every year you'll get a phone call. Hey, mate, it's been ages. We haven't caught up for a while. What have you been up to? What do you want? And it's because they've changed.
I have a mate like that. I know that he's moved organisations and industries. When I get a phone call, we haven't caught up for ages. Yeah. What are you selling now?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not like that.
And that's right. It's a thing of, and if you talk to that bloke, he will genuinely believe that what he's selling in that moment is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so you cannot. It's not that he's trying to stitch you up. He's your mate. He just thinks that, right, I've got this thing now. I've got to sell this thing, and to some degree he might be trying to help you, but he doesn't have enough knowledge to actually. To know everything that you need to know. And secondly, he's got no real skin in the game, because in 2 years' time he's going to be off doing something else. And if it doesn't work out for you, there's no downside to him.
Thank you for listening to the Money Over 50 podcast with Money Over 50 financial advisors. For more information and resources, visit the Money Over 50 website, mo50.com.au. We look forward to catching up again soon.